A Glance in the Mirror. Chapter 45. Expatriates. With the end of the summer term at Charmandean school, Anna and Helen packed their trunks for the last time. Anna started daily Spanish lessons with a teacher living in Buckingham, and Helen, who had finished secondary education, prepared to take up studying acting and dance at the Novello School of Drama in Littlewick Green. She had passed the entrance for the Northern Drama School, but had chosen to remain close to where she had always lived. She could have opted to study drama teaching, but decided to go all out for acting as her first choice. On the 14th of August, Josephine flew out to Gibraltar to attend an arranged meeting at the solicitor's office of J Hassan and partner, between Trevor Dine of Andalusia Properties, Hill Samuel directors David Pritchard and Jim Fairburn, David Coleshaw of Jersey Bank, and Sir Joshua Hassan. From his legal practice, Tony Pavasoli and James Levy, two other partners in the legal firm, also attended. The meeting was most amicable, getting the business off to a good start, to discuss and clarify the situation regarding the building up of a Hill Samuel Financial Services Agency using Andalusia Properties to make introductions to Josephine from their client bank. After the meeting, Josephine returned to Sotogrande and the estate agency of Trevor Dine. They discussed and arranged extra building work and an additional driveway to our recently purchased property. He introduced her to a local builder and to his partner, a building surveyor, to supervise the work and sort out the legal niceties. College Farm had been an all too brief interlude in their short married life. It had been a wonderful place for them both to find their feet, positioned as it was in an ideal village setting. They were going to miss its rustic charms, giving up some very good friends in and around the village. Terry's weekly shopping trips into Buckingham, a place that he was getting to know well, had become essential for the family, and an interesting walk for Ruff and for Terry, seeking unusual places to paint, helping develop the old church with Duncan, and the dash to Champneys to paint a portrait or two. The framing shop and the hardware store, frequent stopovers at the tea shop, all were going to be missed, their convenience and friendliness. Josephine's new job was to be Director of Hill Samuel Financial Services Spain. Her area of influence covered mainly southern Spain and the peninsula, and in particular those areas closest to the English-speaking expatriates, living within easy reach of Gibraltar and Malaga Airport. Her main task was to find office accommodation to represent the company in a suitably strategic position with a convenient and eye-catching frontage. Her second task was to make a connection with an established local business person, estate agent, abogado or notary. Trevor Dine was the perfect solution. He was the proprietor of Andalusia Properties, who was helping to develop Sotogrande. His partner in the business was a local Spaniard who had Spanish estate management qualifications. Their staff was well versed in local tax issues and the needs of the expatriate community. Sotogrande Estate was the idea of Joseph Micking, the owner of Ayala Corporation, a company in Manila, Philippines. His aim was to create an exclusive residential estate with port facilities, golf course and a polo field, close to a good water supply. These facilities could be further enhanced by being close to an English-speaking conclave of Gibraltar and its airport. His nephews purchased Paniagua and an option to buy Sotogrande Valderrama. Both these were large estates close to the shoreline. In 1964, Matt Micking employed Robert Trent Jones to design the best golf course, choosing the most appropriate site within both these locations, the remainder of the land to be reserved for residential use. The following year, Beach Field was built, housing the exclusive polo field hosting the silver and gold cups, and the whole complex now considered to be the best private resort in all of Europe. Trevor Dine's office, set back off the main highway, had ample car parking space to its front, which could display any signboard easy enough. to be read by passing motorists. The vacant offices next door were ideally placed for a prospective financial services consultancy, convenient for easy car access and parking, offering a linked business connection within a few miles of Gibraltar's banking community. It was a perfect solution for both agencies. Trevor and his wife Janet were kind and thoughtful, ever willing to put themselves out for their fellow compatriots who lived in Sotogrande, and knew all the local business people. He owned a vast tract of the available land, which was perfect for future development. Back home, Terry and Josephine made many visits to John Lewis's department store in Milton Keynes, using their export department to buy various items free of VAT. These were packed and delivered ready for Dell's Removals of Berkhamsted to complete loading the rest of the furniture for its outward journey to Sotogrande. The local vet sought a rough's license for the customs and Spanish police. At last the day of moving arrived, and the last delivery of their purchases from John Lewis's coincided with the appearance of Dell's removal van. Everything now was packed away on their largest van, and feverish activity, which was a good thing, stopped them from taking in the seriousness of the occasion. They had been at College Farm for over 2 eventual years. Now they were off again to start something even more adventurous. The opening up of Spain's coastal region, starting mainly in Costa Blanca, began in the middle of the late 1970s. General Franco died in 1975, which restored the Spanish monarchy. The new constitution and freedoms gained from a previously closed society enabled outsiders to consider investing money in the Spanish expanding economy. In the early 80s, London and Northern Europe property prices were shooting up, stocks and shares were at an all-time high, and investors were frantically seeking new schemes to invest their money in. There were enclaves of German, Dutch, Swedish and English settlers populating the well-known coastal region, all reliant upon a stable monetary forecast to eke out their retirement plans. The coastal region was being exploited for development purposes all the way from France to Portugal. The peoples from the northern countries of Europe were looking to Spain for second homes and retirement places. The financial institutions were alive to the possibilities of development, looking for new clients as well as servicing UK markets. Local building firms had employed all the labour they could find, and land speculation was rife. It was without doubt another Klondike, clearly seen and felt, and witnessed by the amount of traffic on the roads and the new businesses opening up. The Spanish economy was reliant upon northern European production figures, and these have a cyclical rise and fall. Towards the end of the 80s, a downturn occurred in the flow of money into the area around Gibraltar and Andalusia, which permeated to other coastal regions about the same time. This didn't come about suddenly, but little by little. This tightening of money supply, particularly debt repayments, was a reflection of the world's largest stock market crash, which occurred on Friday, October the 19th, 1987. And this had a massive effect on the monetary markets. Confidence and faith in the systems plummeted. It had taken just 3 minutes to knock 30 billion of share values off. The following Monday became known as Black Monday, and was to have profound effects for all expatriates of all nationalities, including Terry and Josephine, who were just about to fly out. Not long before, computer selling of stocks and shares had been introduced to the London stock market. The terrible storms and the previous weekend had taken away the possibility of share owners being able to get in touch with the market, and then panic set in, and prices fell dramatically. 3 weeks later, on the morning of the 4th of September 1987, Anna, Ruff and Terry flew out to Gibraltar. Ruff was supposed to be in a box on his lap, but in the event she sat on his knee and was just perfect, being petted by all the flight attendants. They picked up their new automatic Mitsubishi Lancer, ordered 3 months before, and drove out to Sotogrande. And this was the first time that Anna had ever seen the house, and she was suitably impressed, especially by having her own bedroom and bathroom. The removers had been previously arranged to deliver that day, and were waiting for them as they opened up. The removers had had an interesting journey down. Finding that they were a little early, they had stopped off to have a swim. Whilst they were enjoying themselves, thieves had made off with all their paperwork, including their passports, and informing the civil guard they had to prove who they were and what they were doing. It totally ruined their swim. It didn't take them long to have everything in place, though, having to make up for lost time. Anna and Terry had brought with them some essential things to eat and drink, so they tucked in, and at the same time supplied the men with tea. The new red Afghan rugs made each room warm and comfortable, giving a touch of oriental flavour. The new beds made up and the linen put away. Their new bungalow began to look like good housekeeping pictures, with white painted walls and marble floors. And now it's his job to design and plan the garden, making it match the rest with bougainvillea, azaleas, lavender and rosemary. On their first afternoon in Spain, when the removal men had left, Anna and Terry walked round the adjacent roads to get their bearings. On that walk, Terry explained to Anna that they would be together a lot and that she should fully trust him. He went on to say that he was very conscious that he was going to be alone with the 14-year-old girl, and that if they were going to make a success out of this venture, their relationship would have to be like father and daughter, and she would have to trust him completely, rely upon him for safe-keeping. And Terry was determined that life with Anna would be as near perfect as possible. He was going to be at home all the time, just looking after her, and it was essential for good relations to exist. And as it turned out, their relationship could not have been better. With all their experiences, Anna and Terry became very good friends, and went most places together, shopping, visiting friends, and touring the local historic places, with their trusty dog Ruff. It wasn't apparent to them then, and certainly not to Terry at all, that their oneness was going to cause such resentment and jealousy later in life, but that was all to come about years later. Thankfully, Terry had not only the experience but also the necessary skills to run the home and make it secure, friendly and happy place. He was pleased to say that Anna realized the importance of what he was saying. 4 days later, Josephine motored down from Altair after seeing clients, bringing with her a few personal items left over from the sale of Bernier Golf. She arrived, tired out, on the evening of the 8th of September, after driving for 8 hours non-stop. She was with us for a week. It was indeed a perfect home. Anna caught the bus to school at the bottom of the road, close to the main highway. It took about half an hour, going straight through Estepona to the outskirts of the town, almost opposite the Continente supermarket. Anna was going to have to take on a new language straight away, to the standard of a 14-year-old girl, and this was pretty daunting stuff, but she managed it by dedication, hard work and perseverance, and soon after moving in, Terry arranged for a tutor to come in twice a week to help Anna with her homework and the language. Walter Vane gave the occasional math lessons, which was very kind and thoughtful. To a large extent, Walter and Beryl felt responsible for what had happened to us, particularly to Anna. It was nice to know that they were ever ready to help. Whilst living at Sotogrande, Terry went to Gibraltar at least once a week and found Gibraltar fascinating, and it wasn't long before he did the usual tour, finding out all about its history. It had a population of 30,000, a religion of Catholicism, and is mainly Spanish-speaking, with an English educational system. The Spanish government continually pressed to have Gibraltar back as part of Spain. The problems at the border, trying to get in and out, were always difficult. Relations between England and Spain, or Gibraltar and Spain, were forever affecting ease of travel. Traffic was held up and passports demanded. It was faintly pathetic and nonsensical, and is still lasting today.